test on a daily basis.
When do you want it back on?
For me, my focus was how can we stop the madness, not my personal problems or if my ego got a bit hurt in the process. Thank you for your question. Very intelligent question.
Hi, my name is Tina Laboda. I just wanted to ask you, what is it that really motivated you and like pushed you and opened up to write and publish your book?
As I said, one of the things that I always struggled against was the shame. Our culture taught us shame. This is shameful. Don't do it. So, in order for me to evolve consciously, I had to transcend this barrier. The barrier of shame, the barrier of fear, the barrier of guilt. And I knew that we didn't do anything wrong. On a daily basis, we were saving human lives. And it was not, for me, this was not a political issue. How can you go wrong by saving a human life? So why am I supposed to be ashamed of something I believe noble? Not that I only did, but also many soldiers in the field. And this is, where you need to stand for your truth. Or you just follow the sheep to the slaughterhouse. Wherever the shepherd is given water and food, the sheep follows. They think that the shepherd is their best friend, but eventually the shepherd is taking them to the slaughterhouse. He is their worst enemy. And I choose not to follow the mob, not to follow the sheep. I choose to stand and say, okay, this is shameful, it's shameful, but it was the right thing to do. And that was the reason why I wrote the book. It was to emancipate my soul from whatever my environment tried to condition me. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Ricky Torin. I'm a huge fan of you and your work. You mentioned that you left the agency because you found out that you were just fighting a ghost and an idea. What led you to that realization?
I came to that realization before I left the agency. But the actual reason why I left the agency, I was put on a polygraph test. And I failed a very dangerous question. For many years, I sat down on a polygraph test many times. But this time, the question was, have you ever planned attacks against the state of Israel? My answer was, of course, no. And I failed that question. So the agency went nuts. They kept me in the basement for a couple of nights. They brought me TV, water, food, blah, blah, blah. They said, you cannot go home, we need some answers. I said, I don't have answers. I said the truth, that's all I know. But it was a new leadership, and I had some trouble with them. I did not like their mentality and the way they were working. It was a matter of ego somehow, so they used it against me, trying to break me. And I was telling them the truth. We were planning attacks, fake attacks against the state of Israel on a daily basis with terrorists, and that was our way to penetrate their movements. And now to come and tell me that I failed this question after you trust me with the technology, you trust me with the agents in the field, how many troops, I led to locations, sometimes 40 of them that would be undercover. I was the only probably Palestinian who knew about their location. And you trust me in the lives of those people. Now you put me and tell me it's like that you've got something hiding. So I thought to myself that this is enough. And that was the moment when I decided to leave the agency. Of course, they did not let me go home till I sat down on the test again after 2 days. And this time I sat on the test and I passed the question without giving them any information. I didn't know what exactly happened, but the chief of this department told them Mosab will never pass the test before they put me on the test. But they did not agree to it, and they put me on the test anyway. What happened, happened. It's behind us. This is the nature of that agency. I choose to get out of that captivity and move on in my life. And here I am today. I apologize for the long answers. Sometimes it's very hard to explain everything. I just want to make sense of what I'm saying.
Hi, my name is Michael Shadport, and my question is, it seems that in retrospect it's very clear to you that your head was in the sand at the time, but when you were younger you truly believed in what you were told. And your story is amazing, but it's also very individualistic. How would you, having gone through such a transformative experience, how would you recommend trying to make this more of a mass experience for a larger amount of people, having other people bring their head out of the sand and understand what you understand now? If that makes sense.
You know, I don't know, brother. I don't think it's about how many, because I think the majority of humanity prefer to live in darkness. We choose to live in a falsehood, not in truth. Because sometimes truth is very hard to accept and very hard to handle. We stay in our comfort zone, we close the door, we create like an intellectual fence around us, some belief system, some theory that makes us feel comfortable, that we know where we're heading, and we get stuck there. This is a human condition. In the Middle East, you can see it more clearly than you see it in the United States, than you see it in Europe or Asia. We need to reshape the human condition. This is what you're asking. It's not about how many people are going to be enlightened, or to be me or you. Every individual is unique in many different ways. But to explore this uniqueness, this individual is the only person who is capable of looking within and finding this beauty and this uniqueness. So I don't understand, or I don't know how I'm going to go and put this in the head of a Hamas terrorist in Gaza Strip. Maybe first of all, he needs to drop a bomb on his head. Then he needs to come back in a different form. Maybe the form of a monkey or a pig. To understand reality. I don't know. This is life.
Would you say that anything other than seeing firsthand the way the Israeli government operated would have come into you in the past as the fact that what you were hearing were simply false truths and not reality? Anything other than seeing it with your own eyes?
Again, this is not the responsibility of anybody to show them. They need to see it for themselves. But if I'm against a certain policy, I'm against the policy of negotiating with terrorists who live in delusion. They tell you we are in our comfort zone, it's an amazing state, come to it. And if you don't agree to go with them, they will shoot at you. This is where they live. To negotiate with them, you just give them legitimacy. You give them recognition. All you have to do, if they understand only the language of force, this is the only language that you should use.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hi.
Hi.
So I'd like to ask you some questions about just the Muslim religion in general. So the rhetoric has been, not all Muslims are terrorists, whatever, but we're seeing a lot of just regular, Muslims that are next door neighbors and people across the street all of a sudden blowing up. Or my daughter came in today and there were probably regular citizens here, Muslims that were really protesting and really not liking Jews. So 2 questions. Are we considered infidels, as non-Muslims? And will we ever get along? Will they ever accept us as regular, non-terrorist Muslims?
As long as the Muslims who live in a state of delusion and they follow Allah, they will continue to hate the Jews. The reason, because Allah don't like the Jewish people. Allah hates the Jewish people. This is the problem. For example, in the Quran you will find, especially in the 2nd chapter, you will find, many places where Allah is very angry with the Jews. because they were disobedient, because they did not obey his commands, because they were sinners. And he took his blessings back from the Jewish nation. This is why he converted them to apes and pigs. This is what the Quran says, this is what Allah says. And then he gave the blessings to the Muslims. So if this is the Quran, which believed to be word by word from Allah or their God, how can we blame the Muslims? The majority of Muslims don't know that this exists in the Quran.